All right, thanks for tuning in to BP Builds. In this build series, what I want to do is continue with work with the Speeduinos. We're doing a 0.4 this time. And what I've done here is I've made my own version of a plug-and-play ECU. So I just kind of finished up my testing today. So this is a SN95 harness, a 94-95 harness, 302 T4MO. And what I did is I developed my own basically plug-and-play ECU for about 220 bucks is what it ended up costing me. And it uses everything's factory injectors, factory coil. There's your TFI. We got factory air intake sensor, factory coolant sensor, throttle position sensor is the only one I don't have with me, but we got the factory crank sensor, factory cam sensor, which is the PIP sensor. We're using the spout signal and everything. So I'll start rotating the distributor, and you see got spark, and you can hear these are original 95 injectors firing. Although if you're going to do this, I'd recommend you get new injectors because these are 30 to 35 years old already. But in this build series, I kind of just wanted to go over how to build one of these things, and this should really apply for any Mustang. I'm thinking years 1986 through 95 at least, because that's if you see right here, it says the EEC4. So this is not a T4MO ECU. I still have mine. What this is I just bought a cheap ECU off eBay. This one is from a 1992 Ford Taurus. It was about 27 bucks. So I used that as my template and added in my hardware. So I just kind of wanted to make an intro video and kind of show you it in action. And I'm thinking this would be a good I think a good thing to show, because I heard that there's not really that many tuning options left for these cars, and I just kind of wanted to develop something and throw it out there, and hopefully it will help somebody. And basically, it's like I said, if you're looking for a way to tune your car, or you're having computer issues, or you can't really find tuning support, or you want to do engine modifications, or you want to change out injectors, or put on a turbo, a supercharger, heads, cam, whatever the reason is, this is a very low cost plug and play way to do it. All you have to do is unplug the factory ECU, plug in this one, and then you have to route one vacuum line to manifold. And here's the tuning software, and this is the old Ford board that I took out of there. I used the factory 60-pin connector. So I think that's everything. All right, so I think I'm pretty much done. I've done, I think, everything I can, and I've got the ECU fully assembled. The only thing I don't have is the wideband, and I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking of either putting an additional port on it, maybe just a single wire, because that's all you're going to need. You're going to need to hook your wideband gauge up to that wire. Or I'm thinking of you would have to cut one of the O2 sensor wires and tap into that. But I don't think that's the best way to do it. I think the best way to do it would be to add an additional jack to plug into the wideband. We've got the original, well, I don't know if it's the original or from the factory, but it's OEM equipment. This is the TFI from the Mustang. This is mounted on the driver's side fender, no, passenger side fender. So we just got our TFI plugged in, and this tan wire with the yellow stripe grounds out the coil. So if we go over to the coil, you see it right there, tan with the yellow, and then you've got red with the green. So then you also got a red with the green, so it's power in. And then the PIP is the green wire. So we have PIP going to this thing as well as to the input of our VR there, the VR1. Well, I don't know why I keep saying that, because that's what it says on the wiring diagram. That's the Hall crank input. And then spark out is pink. And that goes through the factory jumper, so you have to have the factory jumper in. And if you pull the factory jumper, there's no spark. Here it is here, the spout jumper. So this has to be in for it to work. And then what am I missing? Black is ground, and then I think that this white with a pink is when you have the starter cranking. I think it just so you don't have a voltage drop or something like that. I think that's what that's for. But it works here on the bench without that hooked up. So now we're able to communicate with factory TFI stuff with the Speeduino. So that makes me happy, and we're maintaining true plug and play. Now I guess I just wanted to show it to you in action. You only need three connections really. I got main power in here to all the red wires on the harness. Then I got main power into the red with the green stripes for our coil and ignition system. That's like the ignition system power. So that's our two powers here. And then we got one ground wire that we're grounding on that connector, big black with a white stripe. And then I just have another ground wire going to my spark plug right there. So we're gonna just do a little test. So I'm gonna kick the power supply on, ready, set. Voltage should come up. There we are, 12.6 volts. And if I start turning our rotor here, on small block Ford, it goes to the left, right? That's about cranking RPM. I'm just turning it with my finger. It says we're drawing about 6.5 amps, which I think that's from the coil. We're drawing a lot of power from the coil. Plus we're firing all 8 injectors. So I think that's okay for a whole system to be running. But yeah, this is just me turning it by hand. It does work if you go the other way, but you can see down in there, we have our, right there. Oh, no, that wasn't it. Sorry, we're looking for the missing tooth. There it was there. See? So that's the missing tooth. So this is tooth 1. So yeah, this is the counterclockwise direction. So this is how it would be running in the car. There's tooth 2, there's tooth 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then the gap again. So there's tooth 1 right now. So that's kind of what you'd be looking for when you're setting your timing. But yeah. Now I'll turn the lights off so we can take a look at the flashing lights, because that's always cool. So you see our data going underneath through the board. And now I'm going to start turning. You see ignition 1 on the left there is firing, but then you have sequential fuel injection firing. I'm going to turn a little bit faster. All right. So that's kind of, we can do one more cool thing. Hang on. All right, so I think it's time to do just a powered test. So we're going to simulate the engine running with my impact driver. We're going to drive that with a 1/4 inch drive on the oil pump. So we're going to power on, ready, set. Battery voltage, 12.6 volts. We're going to engage. Pretend that, now the camshaft is turning. Got all 8 injectors on there. Okay, so that's kind of a live demonstration. So here we go, we'll power it down. Yeah, so you kind of see, there it is, final product. Here's the lid. So maybe I'll just do one more closing little shot here, and I would say that our fabrication and build of this thing is done. Maybe I'll catch up with you when we do something. Maybe I'll come up with something nice for that wideband gauge.